Good morning, everybody. Today is December 17th. We have today and tomorrow left before Christmas break. We have our Google Hangout tomorrow at 9 o'clock with everybody. Please be on time. Like I said, it will probably run a little long because it's our last day together. Today, we are going to be researchers, and we are going to be filling out a research log on the Arctic. The book we're going to read today is Where Do Polar Bears Live? The Arctic might be a bit too chilly for you or me to live there, but it is the perfect home for polar bears. The fur between the pads of their paws keep them from slipping on the ice. Their skin and blubber are warm like a blanket, but the earth is getting warmer and the ice is melting. Where will the polar bears live? How can we help protect their home? Read and find out. So as I'm reading, you guys will have a Google slide to fill out with some questions. So if while I'm reading you need to pause it so you can get your answers, pause this video so you can type your answers up or find an image you need to put into your research log, okay? This island is covered with snow. No trees grow. Nothing has green leaves. This land is white as far as you can see. Then something small and round and black pokes up out of the snow. A black nose sniffs the air. Then a smooth white head appears. A mother polar bear heaves herself out of her den. A cub scrambles after her. When the cub was born 4 months ago, he was no bigger than a guinea pig. Blind and helpless, he struggled in his mother's fur. He snuggled in his mother's fur. He drank her milk and grew, safe from the long Arctic winter. Outside the den, on some days, it was 50 degrees below zero. From October to February, the sun never rose. Now it's spring, even though snow still covers the land. The cub is about the size of a Cocker Spaniel, so that's a dog. He's ready to leave the den. For the first time, he sees bright sunlight and feels the wind ruffle his fur. The cub climbs and slides down icy hills. His play makes him grow strong and teaches him to walk and run in snow. Like his mother, the cub is built to survive in the Arctic. His white fur will grow to be 6 inches thick, longer than your hand. The skin beneath the cub's fur is black. It soaks up the heat of the sun. Under the skin is a layer of fat, like a snug blanket. This blubber keeps the heat of the bear's body. Polar bears get too hot more easily than they get too cold. They stretch out on the ice to cool off. The cub has never seen his father, and he never will. Polar bear fathers don't take care of cubs. For 2 years or a little longer, that will be the mother's job. After a few days near the den, the mother leads her cub onto the frozen sea. Fur between the pads of their paws keeps them from slipping on the ice. If the cub gets tired, the mother gives him a ride. So here is the Arctic, and they call this the Arctic Circle. And right in the middle, you guys, is the North Pole. Polar bears live in the Arctic around the North Pole. Some of the Arctic is land. There are cold, rocky islands and stretches of tundra where no trees grow, but a lot of the Arctic is ice. Under the sea, there is a cold, dark water. Seals live here. So do the fish and shrimp and crabs that they eat. Okay, this is going to be your Arctic scrapbook. So I am on page 22. On your scrapbook page, it says read pages 20 through 28. It says you took an Arctic tour. So right now we are starting our Arctic tour. When you came home, you had a lot of photographs. So throughout these pages will be images of different Arctic animals. It says now you are going to make a scrapbook with a page for each Arctic animal. Draw a picture for each animal. So you guys will search for these animals on the web under Google Images, and you will copy and paste them into your Google slide. Then write what the animal looks like and what it does. So we just read about the seal, the fish and shrimp and crabs that live under the ice in the dark water. Fish and shrimp and crabs spend their whole lives underwater, but seals have to come up to the surface to breathe. They use the claws on their flippers to scrape away ice, making holes so they can reach the air. The mother polar bear did not eat for months while she was in her den. She has lost hundreds of pounds. Now she needs to hunt. She smells a seal's breathing hole through 3 feet of snow and settles down to wait. She doesn't twitch a foot or take a step. If the seal hears the smallest sound, it will drift away to another hole. At last, the polar bear smells the seal. She hooks it with her sharp claws and crushes its skull with her jaws. She drags it onto the ice. Pretty sad, but they gotta eat. It's the way of life in the Arctic. The mother strips away the skin and blubber. A little Arctic fox darts in to snatch a mouthful of meat. So there's your next Arctic animal, the Arctic fox. On land, a polar bear might catch a tiny ling. It might even nibble grass or seaweed. But to survive, polar bears need to catch seals. To catch seals, they must hunt on the ice. So here is, wow, okay. So here is the summer of 1980. You guys see how much Arctic white land is here? Obviously the green is more like your grassland. And all this is your snow and ice. Look here in 2007. Look how much smaller your white area has disappeared. It says every summer, some of the ice around the Arctic melts. Every winter, it'll freeze again. But in the last 100 years, the Earth has gotten warmer. A little more ice melts each summer. Each winter, the water is slower to freeze back into the ice. When ice melts earlier and water freezes later, bears have less time to hunt. They don't eat as many seals. When scientists studied polar bears in Canada, they found that the bears weighed less than they once did. Would they weigh less? Well, it just said they have less hunting time, which means less food for them. So their weight is going to go down because their bellies are not filling up with food. Thinner bears can't have as many cubs, and more of their cubs die before they can grow up to have babies of their own. If the earth keeps getting warmer, see, look right here. So with it melting, there's less hard ice for the polar bears to travel and hunt. So with it melting, like the polar bears either have to swim forever or they get, like this one, he's on a piece of ice and he's going to be stranded out there with nowhere to go. If the earth keeps getting warmer, the summer ice in the Arctic could melt completely by the time you grow up. When this polar bear cub is full grown, he will be the biggest hunter of land. If he stood on his hind legs, his head would brush the ceiling of your living room. He will weigh as much as 3 tigers. Each of his footprints in the snow will be wider than a dinner plate. Bigger than your plate is his footprint. That's a big polar bear. The polar bear is a fierce, smart hunter, but he cannot survive with no place to hunt. Without ice, polar bears will become extinct, gone forever. If the ice doesn't stop shrinking, he may be the last polar bear. Okay, so it says, find out more about why the Earth is getting warmer. I know a lot of our Earth, Space, and Science people have been learning about this as well in some of their lessons. Our planet Earth is surrounded by a thick blanket of air, the atmosphere. The atmosphere is made of gases, such as the oxygen we need to breathe. There are other gases too. One is called carbon dioxide. Heat from the sun moves through the atmosphere to reach Earth. Some of it is reflected back into space, but some gets trapped by gases like carbon dioxide. It stays inside the atmosphere and helps warm up Earth. There has always been carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but when we burn gasoline, oil, natural gas, coal, and wood, we add more. The extra carbon dioxide is making our Earth warmer. In the last 100 years, Earth has gotten warmer by about 1.3 degrees Fahrenheit, almost 0.75 Celsius. This doesn't sound like much, but even a small change in temperature can cause big changes on Earth. If we keep getting and putting more carbon dioxide into our atmosphere, Earth will warm up about 2 to 11 degrees Fahrenheit in the next 100 years. If that happens, a lot would change. In some places, there would be more rain and bigger storms. In others, there would be hardly any rain at all. Sea ice where polar bears live would melt more quickly. So would glaciers. Glaciers are those big, tall mountains of ice. Melting glaciers would make the oceans rise. So as those big hills of ice and mountains melt, the water, it's going to have more water. Like when an ice cube melts, it leaves a little puddle on the table or on your cup or whatever. It says, so when the glaciers melt, the oceans rise because it's melting from the air, or melting from the hot, warm weather. Islands and lands near the sea would be flooded. We're not sure what else might happen, but we know that many animals and people would find it hard to live if Earth changed so quickly. What can you do? We put carbon dioxide in the atmosphere when we burn gasoline, oil, natural gas, coal, and wood. So like the cars that we use, guys, it burns gasoline. We put out of the exhaust in our car. Like when your parents warm up their cars, all that like steam, like or gases come out of the car. That's putting like toxins into our atmosphere. The burning of coal, when we burn wood and oil, like big boats on the Kentucky Dam and the Kentucky River, or on the river, not the Kentucky River. All that, like everything puts toxins into the air, and that's changing the way our Earth is. We use these fuels for a lot of things. Here we go, for driving our cars, for heating our homes, and for making electricity. When you turn on a light bulb, run an air conditioner, or work on a computer, you're using fuel that adds carbon dioxide into the air. We can't stop doing all these things, but here are some things we can do. Don't ask for a ride if you can walk or ride your bike. Take the bus with lots of other people, which will use less energy because you're not driving your car. Second, don't throw away soda cans, juice bottles, or paper in the garbage. Recycle them. I know my neighborhood does not recycle. I wish every state would recycle. There's a lot of states that do recycle and give you money back for bringing in like cans and glass. I burn a lot of our paper, like our cereal boxes, our mail. I put it in a burn barrel, and I burn it all. So I don't throw really paper out in the trash. I know at school we shred it, and that gets taken to a recycling place. But same with your cans, like the cans, the aluminum, juice bottles, plastic. Those are all things that can be recycled and reused for our environment. Recycle them. Recycling uses less energy than making new things. This means less carbon dioxide in the air. So like when we recycle, those things can be melted down and used again. Remember that paper has two sides. Don't waste it. Use both. Draw or paint or write stories on the blank sides of old homework papers. So don't throw away your papers. Use them all up and then recycle them. Ask your mom or dad to buy compact fluorescent light bulbs, the twisty kind. I can take a twisty kind out. I have all LEDs in my house. It saves on our energy cost. And right here, our fluorescent light bulbs, the twisty kind, instead of the regular kind called incandescent. Oh, here they are. Here's a twisty light bulb. So rather than the light bulbs like that you think, like what you put over your head, like it's the little bubble light bulb, these are the twisty kind. So tell your parents to get twisty light bulbs. They use less electricity. If your parents complain that the fluorescent ones are more expensive, explain that they will last much longer. I told that to my husband. I'm like, I bought like a 30 pack on Amazon. And that did save me more money when I bought more of them, because we can always use light bulbs. And I have so many different lamps around our classroom as well. So I brought those to school to save on energy cost. So yes, it does cost more, the light bulb does, but you're saving money overall. And we're benefiting our environment for our polar bears. In the winter, ask your parents to turn the thermostat down a little. If you're cold, put a sweater on. Or do some jumping jacks. Exercise warms you up. So if you have the house on like 70 degrees, maybe turn it down a notch to 69 or 68 degrees. I know when we leave for the day, I always turn it down. I always turn it down because no one's home and we don't need to heat our house like super warm while no one is here. So we turn it down to save on energy. In the summer, don't turn on the air conditioner. Well, that just depends how hot it is. Instead, sit by a fan. It uses less electricity. Or yet, open a window. Okay, so that completes where do polar bears live. We learned a lot of extra good stuff too, guys. Okay, so homework for today. You will have your Arctic scrapbook. I am putting this into a Google slide. So when I send it to you, it's going to be in your email. And I'll attach this video as well for you to pause the video as I'm reading so you guys can get your answers to type, not write in, but type in your answers on your Google slide. Like I said, you'll have to look for images as well, like Google search images and copy and paste. Okay? So I will share that with you in email. Again, you'll have to make a copy, but it will make you make a copy. So just hit make a copy and don't forget to share it with Miss Lidecker. Share, that top yellow button that says share. Type in KA and Catherine Lidecker should pop up on your computer email to share it with me. That's how you turn it in, guys. It has to be shared to turn it in. That's how you're going to get your points for today. On N2Y, there will be math, so you do need to log into N2Y. I will delete all of the reading because this is our reading lesson for today. Okay, this is your reading for today. So no N2Y reading, just math. So you may have math boxes. Some of you may have science boxes, a book to go along with your science lesson. I'm going to see if I can get money skills on N2Y, and if not, you will have money skills. But really just focus on your scrapbook and your math lessons today. And do not forget to share it with Miss Lidecker so you can turn it in and get your points for today. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed our book. I really like it. It's very interesting. I am going to give 5 extra credit points if you email me the current status on our polar bears. Like this last page here, I think it said 2017. So this book was written, oh no, it says 2007. So it's been a while. It has been a few years since this book was written. This book was written in 2010. So it's been 10 years since this book's written. 2010 plus 10 is 2020. So it's been 10 years since the research of polar bears, since this book was exactly written and illustrated. So if you can maybe type me up a sentence or 2 or 3, the more you send me, the more credit I will give you. I want to know, like, are there polar bears? Did we make any changes in our daily living, in our environment, that may helped our polar bears? Or are they, like, seriously just declining because our Earth is warming up? So if you research anything about polar bears, let me know. Email it to me, and I would love to share it tomorrow at our Google Hangout as well, because this is everybody's homework for today. Everybody is reading this, so everybody is comprehending what's happening to our environment and our poor polar bears. So maybe you want to research a little bit more and learn more about them. I kind of do. I think I'm going to as well, because I think it's pretty interesting to know, like, hey, there's a problem here. We need to make changes. And if not, we're going to lose our polar bears and other Arctic animals, and lots of other ecosystems are slowly dying. So we did learn in the back of the book, though, that there are some things we can do. Okay? All right, guys, I hope everyone has a great day. tomorrow we have a Google Hangout at 9. I will see you all tomorrow. If you need anything, let me know. I'll be on my computer. I'll be watching you, video chatting with you. Have a great day.